Today's best music.
Magic 89.9.
Are you ready? We welcome you. I enter the chat room, and today is going to be fun. It's going to be special. We got some guests who are live, both on radio for those who are listening, working at home or just chilling at home, and of course on the road. There are a lot of people on the road already, so thank you for listening to Magic 89.9. And on Facebook, we are live online. And today is a day where we're going to have two guests. We have, first of all, bright and early, joining us today on the Magic Chatroom. She enters, film director now, content creator, and social media influencer and all that jazz, Janina Manipol. Thank you very much for joining us, Janina.
Hi, so am I live right now?
Yes, you are. We are all
okay.
live.
Hi, guys.
Yes,
Thanks,
hello,
Boom, for having me here.
It's good to see you again. And of course, we also have our YouTube sensation, social media influencer, fresh off a nap, Dasovich is joining us straight from his home. Hey, Will, what's up? How you doing?
YouTube sensation. I haven't heard that one in a while. I like hearing what they call me, and whenever I do one of these things, that's funny.
What do you like being called, Will?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't care actually, because they're all the same thing, you know. To me, content creator, influencer, YouTuber, they are all the exact same thing. So,
right.
Yeah,
right.
And I really don't mind
Janina.
the labels or anything.
Yeah, same thing what we were talking about, no, Boom?
Yeah, the other day. And we'll get to all of that in a bit. But first, I always start by asking our guests here, what is the poison of choice this afternoon? Janina, we had a few drinking sessions back in the day with all of our friends, but what is the choice for this afternoon?
Okay, so initially, I had coffee, but sabi mo gusto mo may kadamay ka, so I got soju. So I'm drinking soju.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Will's been missing the party scene. He's been aching to go out and party. That's what he told me the other day. But what is the choice? But it's not mean just having a good time. What's the choice for Will when it comes to these things? When you want to have a good time?
Right now I'm having coffee. Yeah, actually. Did you know that?
No, we had our fair share of tequila moments together in Poblacion.
Okay. If I have to choose, yeah, I go with tequila because it's the only upper alcohol. I think it's the only alcohol that makes you like really energetic and crazy. Where actually maybe all of them can do that, but you know, it's opposite of wine.
It brings out the best version of Will, apparently.
Yeah, things get crazy when you drink tequila.
Well, feel free to take a shot every now and then if you feel like it. Janina, I know she loves the shots. That's another thing that we all enjoyed back in the day. Okay, now before we all really get started in this conversation, again, this is an episode that we tackle content creation, social media influence. I wanna go back. I know Will can't wait to talk about that part. But before you are who you are now, and you've evolved into what you have evolved into now, because you've already gone through stages in this content creation world. What were you doing, and what did you initially want to get into prior to settling? I don't want to say settling, but finally getting into what you're doing right now. What was the thought process back then? Janina, I'll begin with you.
So you're asking me what did I initially want to do before what I'm actually doing now?
Yeah, that, and what were you actually doing also? Did you ever have a 9-to-5 job? Did you ever want a 9-to-5 job? Did you ever want to be a doctor or anything like that back in the day?
I actually went through a lot of different vocations back in the day. Like I even tried radio DJing with you once. Remember that?
Okay, yeah, we had some fun.
I worked in different fields. Like I became an intern for hit production as an audio engineer, and then I worked in a production house as an editor until I finally made my own production company with my boyfriend Seb. And then slowly I started venturing into different businesses. I recently opened a restaurant, and I partnered with my friend Kiara, who's a dentist, and we opened this teeth whitening business, which is like, yeah, very, very doing very good right now. So,
Did you want to be anything else before that was not in that field?
well, I always kind of knew that I wanted something related to entrepreneurship. Like, ever since I was young, I always had that drive to like want to earn money, and at the same time, it's not just really like, about the money, but like I also wanted it to have a purpose in a way, like not just um earning or not just doing a business, but having that backbone of like having that vision of helping people. So this current one I'm doing with my friend, we're actually like for every kit you buy, every whitening kit you buy, we actually donate to charities and nonprofit organizations that help give free cleft lip and cleft palate surgeries to children. So right now I'm looking into more helping and like just making the world a better place for everyone.
All right, Will, what about you? Well, before the day that you got, what, 2.5 already million subscribers in YouTube before you even started?
He even won the Shorty Awards.
There you go, and all the stuff that you've already garnered for yourself. What was the goal back in the day? Did you ever hold any other job, or was there any other odd job for that matter prior to you getting into content creation?
So yeah, I started working, well, illegally. That sounds so weird. I mean,
I like this already.
Not on the payroll. I mean, I was working when I was like 10 years old, I think, just mowing lawns. So I was a little entrepreneur child.
Where are we talking about?
Growing up, I grew up in the suburbs of San Francisco,
okay.
California.
Bay Area.
Yes, sir. Bay Area, Marin County. I'm sharing this on my Facebook page because I just found it while I speak.
Please do. Thank you. We're talking to Will Dasovich right now, Janina Manipol, for those listening on radio right now. Yes, go ahead, Will. So you've had some odd jobs back in the day since you were 10.
So yeah, I was doing all cash business type stuff. And then it wasn't until I was 15 years old where I got my first job as a merchant marine.
As a what?
Merchant marine.
Okay.
Yeah, where I shipped out on these large cargo ships, which was crazy.
No way.
Yeah.
Explain some muscles.
Yeah, so I made my first trip. I went to Hawaii. We were transporting like ammunition, food, all this random stuff with the Navy. So I did a 40-day trip. I was on that vessel. And then after that, I was still in school. I was still in high school. So I could only do that during the summer. So when I was in school, then I ended up working bagging groceries after school at Safeway. I don't know if you guys. That's like the Rustins of of California. Or yeah. So I was doing that, and then after that, I was valeting cars, and then after valeting cars, I eventually, when I got to college, I studied entrepreneurship and business. I always wanted to do something in business because I felt like I just had that knack,
Same.
I had that like Chinese mindset where you just like understand how business works, basically.
I think Will and I are the same in terms of like we want to do so many different things, and it's somehow related to business, and yeah.
Exactly. Some people just have that mindset and they get it. And I definitely see that in you, Janina. It translates in how you have done that with the whole influencing content creating platform. Right. But so I started a house painting business. And I started out hiring my friends, which is like a terrible decision looking back in the long run, because it's so hard for your friends to take you seriously in a work setting, especially if they're your boss. But yeah, I did that for a couple of years, and it was a really good business until I graduated college. The thing to do when you graduate college, I guess, back where I'm from in California, is everyone takes a gap 6 months or a gap year where they go and travel. I don't know if people do that here. No, in the Philippines, from what I know, people go straight into work, right?
But some people do actually like to go take a break, but most people don't. They're itching to work the moment they graduate.
Exactly. That's one of the huge differences I know from people I've met here in the Philippines is like after college, you go straight into work. And for me, school is so hard, and I got good grades because I worked really hard, but it never came easy for me. And I really believe I wouldn't be surprised if I have a learning disability of some sort. But like 18 years, I don't know how many years, I'm not even good at math, right? 18 years or whatever of school just destroyed me. So I needed to travel before I went back into the working world. So my house painting business, I was like, I'll put this on hold. And I went to the Philippines. Okay, me and my friend, he was my college roommate at the time, Dylan Efron. You guys might know him. We had this plan to travel. Yeah.
Guapo alert.
We had this whole grand plan to travel Southeast Asia for 3 months and just like backpack it. But he got a job, it just popped out of nowhere at Warner Brothers because his brother hooked him up. So I had to go alone. And this was like, that wasn't the plan, but I was like, whatever, I'll take it on. I'll do this solo travel. So the first country I visited was the Philippines, just because at least I have some family there since I'm half Filipino. So I started in the Philippines, went to Singapore, Bali, and then within that first month I was in the Philippines, I was like eating lunch at a mall, and some dude came up to me. He was like a scout for a talent agency, and he said, "Hey, I think you could like do commercial modeling." I was just like, who the hell is this guy? Like, why are you telling me I could do commercials?
So that was the first road before the whole thing. Was it commercial modeling first when you came to the Philippines? You got discovered as
that very moment. That was it. The student said, "Hey, I think you have the like face for being in commercials." And I thought that was like the coolest thing in the world. I was like, "Yo, I'm traveling. I'm saying yes to every opportunity that comes my way. Let's try and be in a commercial. Let's do it." So I went to VTRs.
I actually had that phase also where
right, Janina, you also did the whole commercial bit and print ad bit and all of these features also in some of the magazines. You went that route too, correct?
True. And back in high school up until college, and then started working.
All right. Before I get back to Will, I want to ask, what was the turning point then? All right, let's get into this whole social media thing. What was, Janina, for you, that point where the transition now to content creation or social media? What was the thing that probably clicked in your head, or something you saw, something you read, or somebody you saw, somebody you watched? And then I'll ask Will the same thing. Janina, you go first.
Okay, so obviously I've always been into the arts because I graduated communication arts back in college, and I was always into film, photography. And back when I was still doing a lot of commercials, I always kind of like when I was the talent, I felt like I was so drawn to the people behind the camera. Like I would take note of the lighting. I would ask questions to the director because I was really interested being behind the camera later on. So that eventually led me to creating my own production company, and now I eventually evolved into becoming a freelance advertising director. So that for me was just like, imagine from being a talent and then starting your own and then eventually going into like freelance advertising. So
And then the Instagram thing was just a product, a byproduct of it, incidentally.
I guess, yeah. I always was fond of taking photos, and I never knew that taking photos, uploading them, I would get paid for it and have some brand sponsorships. But it's something I do on the side, and lately I haven't been active that much, but because I've been concentrating on film and directing.
Correct.
But yeah, every time there's an inquiry, I take it, because why not? It's something, it's a side hustle, and I'm very much open to different things, and I'm very capable of doing like multitasking, because I think that's one of my talents. I like tinkering with different things. I love learning different things. So yeah, I just
plus you can do your own content anyway. You don't need to hire
true.
anybody
And
for
like
that.
if brands hire me, I think the main reason why they hire me is because of the quality of the content that I put out. I'm so OC. I'm so anal about content and quality. So yeah.
All right. We're talking to Janina Manipol and Will Dasovich for those listening on radio and are at home. And for those, of course, who are watching us live on Facebook, thank you very much for tuning in, the Magic Chatroom. My name is Boom. Will, what about you? The turning point for you from, the transition from the commercials, was it now? When did the whole YouTube idea come into play, and did anybody push you? Was it on your own initiative and all of that?
Well, when I was doing commercials, I did that for I think 10 months or almost a year. When I started doing commercials, I just had so much fun, and I wasn't good at what I was doing. I wasn't good at acting. I wasn't good at dancing.
No way! I wouldn't have figured.
Not at all.
I only thought you were this bubbly, energetic guy with so much like woo.
I was, and that's what took me far. So I think it's with the relationships I created, and everyone liked my personality, and people gave me inspiration by telling me I was different, but I didn't know how to take that to the next level. So I tried to do showbiz, and eventually I got on a reality show and started doing stuff with TV5, because back then TV5 I feel like was the stepping stone to get to GMA or to get to ABS-CBN. So I started doing TV5 stuff, but again, I wasn't good at any particular thing, and my Tagalog was very weird because I speak with an American accent, and I was still learning at that time. And then it dawned on me that what made me different was my personality, and how do I get an opportunity to showcase my creativity of who I am and the way I think and how to tell a story. And I pitched all these ideas to TV5, GMA, and ABS-CBN, and I was no one. So why would they listen to me? I understand that. So I pitched all these like video ideas for them. I just got X'd on all of them. So I was just like, you know what? I don't see anyone giving me the opportunity, so I'm going to create my own opportunity, and I'm going to start a YouTube channel and create my own show. So these shows that I made this series of videos, my very first videos on YouTube, I made a 8-episode series called The Art of Tagalog, and it was based around me learning Tagalog in almost a vlog format, but not necessarily, because vlogs weren't a thing yet. And those videos went viral. And I remember like telling these networks, ABS, GMA, TV5, that if you pay me like $100, 5,000 pesos, 10,000 pesos, I will let you guys have all the rights and everything. And they're just like, they didn't care. And it's so funny. Those videos got millions and millions and millions of views, which networks pay millions of pesos to get advertisements like this. And then, after that, I just realized I got it. All you need is like a shot of confidence. All you need is that belief that you really can do something and you can make it. So after that, it was history. I knew that I had the knack to entertain. I knew what people wanted to see. And because of those viral videos, I got a job at Unang Hirit, the morning show on GMA. Right. So I was hosting that. I had a full-time job there. I was hosting the news in my silly accent, which I guess was different at the time. And then I was also doing TV shows and YouTubing at the time. And then I realized I just had the idea that I'm going to start the blog because no one was vlogging it. And I found an American YouTuber who was like in his first month of vlogging, and then I realized this can be the future. It impacted me the way.
What year was this?
Like,
if we can date it, sorry to interrupt you, Will, but what year is this? Just so we can date it a little bit.
2000, at the very end of 2015.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because 2014 is when I came to the Philippines. So
okay, so you were watching this guy. You were watching this guy. You were taking notes, mental notes.
And he made such an impact on my life, how he talked about motivation, how he talked about his daily life, and how he turned his normal life into a movie, which is essentially what the vlog is. And no one had done that, especially in Asia, or especially in the Philippines.
That's true. I think you were one of the first YouTubers I saw here who actually just pushed for it and went for it. And yeah, up until now, you're doing it. So that's so great.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, people thought I was crazy at the time, but I just decided I quit showbiz, which was a huge risk, and everyone was like, "But you're finally getting on shows. You should keep going that route. You're just gonna waste it all." But I knew that I always said, and you could see it in my old vlogs. People think I told the future, because if you go back in my very first vlogs, I always say, like, vlogging and the internet is gonna take over. Social media, it's going to take over the Philippines, and it's one day is going to be bigger than TV. And just I analyzed the vlog like a business. As an entrepreneur, I'm always looking at how do I create a business or be one of the first ones, because when I first came to the Philippines, I was meeting all these young 30-year-old Americans or Israelis who are living in the Philippines, and they have these big businesses. And what they did was they just copied a format from their own countries or from the US, and they brought it to the Philippines. And I was always looking out for what business can I do like that someone else hasn't started. And I understood the vlog. And I understood that even though influencer wasn't a thing then, even though like influencer marketing had not yet existed, I understood that was the future, and that you could leverage any sort of business as long as you have a following, and the power of social media. So
right, okay.
So yeah, I daily vlogged like an insane person, because that wasn't a thing back then. I was making videos every single day, carrying my fat camera around.
I remember.
Right.
People thought I was insane. People thought I was just a lunatic, but luckily after a few months or after a half of a year, it just blew up and blossomed into this thing that it seems like every other creator is doing now.
And I think what I like most about you, Will, is that you don't you share your knowledge to other people. Like my friend Brett, I think you influenced him into vlogging. So that's what I like about you. You're not like selfish when it comes to sharing things. So that's really I really admire that about you.
That is a very excellent point. One of the reasons why also we're doing this right now today, the Magic Chatroom with Janina, Manipol, and Will Dasovich, sharing their beginnings and sharing their philosophy and their struggles, adversity, and powering through and evolving in the world of content creation and social media influence. Cheers muna. Bago tayo. Cheers. Come on.
Coffee na lang.
Okay, break it up. Let's get a swig of whatever it is that you're drinking right now.
Cheers.
All right. Was fame ever, okay, you talked about the business part, Will and Janina. You talked about the entrepreneurial side that you guys had from the very start, and that's obviously part of what drove you. And like you, Will, I myself went through a lot of odd jobs until, found my footing in media. But was fame ever a factor? I begin with you, Janina. Did you ever say to yourself, I want to be famous? Because I asked that question because a lot of people get into it for that purpose first.
Okay.
Because they feel like it will translate monetarily. But the initial motivation is fame, the numbers, obsession over the numbers, the likes, the followers, and all that. Was fame ever a motivation for you? I begin with you, Janina.
I guess in a way it can be, but it wasn't really the center of my goal, I just for me it's just important that you love what you're doing, and every day you wake up and you do what you love. So that for me is just really the most important thing. And the fame is just something that happens
Byproduct.
by product, and it's great if it does, and if it doesn't, I don't really mind. As long as I love what I'm doing, then I'm happy. Because yeah, bottom line, happiness in what you're doing, and it's just yeah, fulfillment in all of those things. Because me, I'm happy when I'm doing filmmaking. I'm happy when I'm connecting with people through all these entrepreneurial businesses. So the fame just comes. So
Right. Well, you went into TV, you went into hosting, all of these things. Did you ever say to yourself, I just want to be famous? Is that something that you ever...
Like Janina said, fame is a byproduct of the job that we do.
but like, who doesn't want to be, right? I mean, if it's there, then thank you, Lord. But again, for us, it's not that important.
When I first got in commercials and like people saw me on TV, and it definitely motivated me, and definitely gave me a boost, because my family, my Lola, the titas, they're so proud of you. They're sharing every commercial you do on Facebook. You get guested on TV, and one of the biggest things was I always just wanted to make my parents proud. That's like one of the deepest things for me, and they were so happy. So I will, and my mom still till this day like gets so happy when people come up to me and recognize me and everything. And it's cute to see her like that. And I definitely would say fame motivated me a lot, because at the time it was a fulfilling feeling. I definitely have some sort of Napoleon complex growing up. I mean, I'm 5'9", so I'm not considered short here in the Philippines, but growing up, I was always short in the States, because I went through puberty super late. So I was a really small kid. And I always had this passion to prove everyone wrong. And I want to, take over the world and be the best at whatever it is I'm doing. So yeah, fame motivated me, and fame it's great in the first year or two.
First stages of your career.
And you can see that in my blog. Anytime someone comes up to me, I'm so excited, and I'll kill the entire day just talking to them. But of course, like with everything, you get used to it, and it has its good and its bads. But yeah,
we'll get to the bad part in a bit.
I actually watched a video of yours recently, Will, where you were like, sorry na wala akong masyadong energy compared sa past vlogs ko, pero lolo na ako or something. That was so funny, because it's true. I noticed you're a bit more lax now when it comes to vlogging.
Yeah, 100%.
There are some people though, who are, you guys are in the world of social media influencing. There are obviously definitely different categories. There are the the mega celebrities, as they call them, the macro influencers, right? The micro influencers, the nano influencers, and all of that. And some people skip stages to become big. Some people stay at a particular point. How do you balance, especially because we just talked about the fame part, how do you balance not getting carried away? Because there are some people who get carried away. Oh, they got 10,000 followers, and now they're, it consumes them to a certain degree that it's now changing them as people and as influencers. And you see it sometimes in their own platforms. How do you stay grounded? How do you pull yourself back? I mean, when you know that you're growing your followers. Are you saying
this in a negative way, like how numbers consume people in a negative way?
Some lose themselves in numbers, Janina, regardless of whether they're fake or organic followers, and some get just full of themselves. And
I mean, I guess it's the culture right now. You know how people are so obsessed with getting likes, getting more followers, but it causes so much anxiety. So my suggestion or my advice to all those people who get anxiety is just put it aside and just continue to do what you're doing, and everything will just follow through.
There is an anxiety part. There is a mental health part of this, Will. about social media influencing and just being on social media all throughout. Yeah, obviously, you did mention there is a good and bad part of it. Has it ever come to a point in all the stuff that you've been doing that you had bouts of, I don't know, whether it's anxiety or, social media withdrawals, or you wanted to get out at some point? Has it gotten to your head in that aspect at some point?
Almost every single creator, YouTuber has gone through burnout, anxiety, and all of that. And fortunately enough, I don't think I've ever had like real anxiety in regards to that, because the main reason is because I think people get anxiety, one, because of the pressure. That's definitely something.
Same societal pressure.
Yeah, there's just, everyone has expectations, and expectations is a super heavy feeling. But I think a lot of people also have anxiety because there's no real job security.
Exactly.
Any day you can just fall off.
Going back to what I said earlier about anxiety, is the reason why I guess I don't feel it that much is because I have an actual job, and this influencing thing is something I do on the side, and I'm grateful, very grateful for that. But
of course,
yeah, if you have something that you're really focused on and that you love doing, I guess the anxiety just like is nothing.
But what if that is your job? And you guys, you're very lucky, obviously, and that's the reason why you're here on the show. I wanted to get your thoughts because you guys have done so much and have evolved into this world of yours and have broken down walls also. But there are Will and Janina, you know them very well, who this is their main job. How do you avoid getting sucked into the dark side of this part of social media influencing?
Do you want to go first, Will?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest criticisms is people from the beginning up until now always ask me like, well, what are you going to be doing in the long term? What are you going to be doing 4 years from now? It's been 4 years since I started YouTubing, and I'm still here.
So what's the long-term plan, son?
And I think, my answer to that is, if I love what I'm doing, then...
And consistency in what you're doing.
Then yeah, I just want to keep doing this as long as possible. So do I think I'll be YouTubing in 4 or 5 years? Yeah, I do, because I have a confidence with what I understand. And I know I understand how the system works. And I know a lot of, like, I don't need to rely on my looks or on anything superficial, I guess. I feel like my content has value because of my creative capabilities. And as long as I enjoy what I'm doing, which is creating videos, it doesn't matter even if I'm making little money. That's what ultimately makes me happy. And that's what people need to understand. I really figured that out in the past few years, that, at a time I couldn't really work because I was going through other stuff. I was battling other circumstances.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, I was happy because I was creating videos, and that's all I want to do. I was doing that. See, I was creating these videos and doing vlogs before it was a job, before I even knew what the word vlog was. I was traveling. I was compiling 5 or 10 minute videos with my travels and vlogging for fun.
I have a question for you, Will.
Do that. Yeah.
Who was your inspiration? Like, why did you do that? I'm sure for like that purpose, you had someone who you looked up to, and like, why did you start doing that? Was it from your own liking, or you saw someone online that motivated you to do that?
Well, when I was 12 years old or 11 years old, my best friend's dad got him a camera, and we would just play around with it at a really young age. We would make like jackass videos,
home videos. What they would call home videos back in the day.
Okay, where we would do stunts and pranks, and we would hurt ourselves, and we just do crazy stuff, which is kind of like modern day pranks. And yeah, from a very young age, I was just playing with video cameras, and then in school, I started making videos, and I became the go-to guy when we have to do a video project. I'm the one who would edit it, And I just realized I was kind of good at it. You know, people told me like I was so good at it. And whenever you feel good at something, it gives you motivation to continue doing it because it gives you some self-worth. It makes you feel like you're different, like you've found your calling or something. So I liked making videos from a very young age. And then when I found the vlog, when I found Casey Neistat, who just started vlogging, that was like the beginning of this vlog revolution. And then, yeah, I just started doing it. And then what the most fulfilling thing was being able to insert my personal values into my daily life, like mostly in terms of health, you know?
Right.
And when I was joining show business, my biggest criticism of the main TV networks was I thought that they can have better content that can teach better values or that can impact society in a way that would influence people to be healthy, both physically and mentally. And I felt that I could do that through a blog, through showing my daily lifestyle, my daily just outlook on life, my attitude. And it worked. When I was vlogging, people would message me, hey, like, I start drinking green tea now because of you, or I look at things differently. I have an open mind. And that was my whole goal in all of this. And even up until this day, it's just to open up a different perspective. Right. Because in most of the world, the whole world lives in bubbles. And I just want to, I guess, provide knowledge in a way that can help them.
Boom.
Yeah, Janina, you wanted to say, go ahead, please.
Yeah, recently, pinagalitan ako yan ni Will eh.
Oh my God. That was so, before we get into this, I was nervous to do that. I rarely do that. I'm so sorry.
I was like,
hang on. For those listening on radio, we're talking to Janina Manipol and Will Dasovich. For those who just tuned in, it's a Magic Chatroom. My name is Boom. We're talking to our storytellers in the real sense of the word, of the phrase, of those words. Janina Manipol, of course, now into film directing. And you wanted to say, yes, tell us that story. Na pinagalitan ka ni Will. What was this all about?
So
like 2 days ago.
Yeah, like 3 days ago, I posted a story of me making my espresso from my Nespresso machine, and then me adding this Starbucks. I want to share it then because I want people to know what you told me.
Go ahead.
So, the Starbucks syrup, so sabi ni Will sa akin, bad daw yon, and it contains so many artificial sugars that boost your insulin, and like he gave me keywords to avoid, like maltodextrin.
Yeah.
Sucrose, what's that?
Basta,
yeah, so many different terminologies that I've never encountered. So yeah, Will is really influential in that sense when in regards to health. And after that sermon of his, it was really, really freaking long sermon in my Instagram, like a love letter. But I thank you, Will, for that, for sharing that information.
Yeah. No, I feel like, excuse my French, I felt like a dick to do that, but I always have the right intentions because I saw Janina posted something on, she's posting something to her hundreds of thousands of followers saying, I love this drink. And she's promoting it because it's healthy. So I sent her a long message telling her why it's not healthy and that you're better off drinking a sugary drink because maltodextrin and whatever chemical it had is worse than sugar. That's all. It was as simple as that. And it's because I care. I have such a passion about health, and I want to spread my knowledge of health to everyone around me because the health business is just such a scam.
And coming from someone who survived cancer,
Correct.
I
Yes,
understand that you're more careful now with your health.
With everything that you put into your
body. It makes me care
body.
so much. Yeah.
Right. Everything that you put into your body. All right. You're listening to the Magic Chat Room. We have Janina Manipol and Will Dasovich. Give me, in the social media influencing world, and you get all of these DMs for sure, in terms of, hey, we have a brand, let's collaborate and all that. And without mentioning any brand, without giving specifics, I just realized I wanted to ask you, all the many DMs, many inquiries, and many, offers that you've gotten, Janina and Will, give me an example of something that made you cringe, that made you all have, like asking you to endorse something. Not a particular brand. Let's not talk about brands, but like a particular product that, if there is any, that you, when you read it, I'm like, hell no, I'm not. Or what is this? I mean,
I'm trying to think of some right now, and I feel like no one has approached me in a cringy way.
Good for you.
I guess also it's the branding I put out, like how I brand myself. So I haven't gotten any cringe-worthy DMs so far, thankfully. So I don't think I have an answer to that.
No problem.
I haven't gotten any.
Will, have you had any that you just, there's no way I'm doing this? Without being particular.
Bro, that happens every day. I get 100 messages across my emails, DMs, and everything of inquiries. And we have if you ever try and email me, I have a standard automatic reply, which is really long and it's intense. And it's like, it basically says, don't waste my time unless you're serious about doing business and blah, 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 blah. And it leaves the number of my manager, Jacko. And it scares most people away to not message me back.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. So I get those every day. I'm trying to think of a recent one I got.
Yeah, come on, bro. Share.
Like,
I got this like last week.
Okay, first of all, let's not mention any product. Let's not mention any brand. But give us an idea of what we're talking about.
This game that a lot of people play. They said they would give me 800 pesos for every time I do a post about them or something. And this is a big game. And it wasn't 800 pesos in cash. It was 800 pesos in that game currency that they wanted to do. So I thought that was hilarious because this is one of, if not, one of the biggest games. Yeah, I don't want to give it
away. Out there. Yeah.
I'm trying to guess what game that is.
Shush.
Anyone can guess it, but I was just shocked. Like, it's not even cash. It's 800 pesos worth of in-game currency. And I was like, wow, well, there you go. But nothing shocked. Again, nothing like triggers me because I'm used to it. I get these emails every day.
That's good. Okay, speaking of ads, are there any, would you know of any regulations when it comes to social media influencing restrictions, regulations, what you're required to put? You're required to put sponsored, you're required to put ad, or are there any from that people don't know about, who are not in this world or who want to get into this world? Are there any restrictions? Did they tell you? No, you have to put ad, you have to put sponsored.
I guess if someone paid you to do a partnership with them, it's required to tag them as a paid partnership.
Is it always required though?
Well, this most recent one that I'm doing for World Vision, they are requiring it for me. So
okay, but in general though, because I only ask this because in the world of traditional advertising, we all know there are obviously set rules and regulations, all that, whether it's for TV or radio. I'm interested to find out, Will and Janina, in this world of yours that you've been in for a while now, are you aware of anything like that? Is there a handbook for this, Will?
So from my experiences, I work with companies from both Asia and the United States and Europe, and they have really strict trade laws and just laws in general and rules in the US and Europe. So whenever I work with an American or European brand directly, not from the Philippines, you do have to put tag business partner and hashtag.
Same.
But from Asia, like, that's only happened to me a couple times, but it's super rare. And I don't know, maybe it's because that Philippine company was working with a big American company and they were required to do that. But otherwise in Asia, no, there's not many rules regarding that.
Going back to that, this most recent one that I told you about, they're a company from Ontario, Canada. So
Ontario, yeah.
Yes, so they're very much detailed when it comes to the contract. Because I read the contract earlier, and whoa, there were so many restrictions, do's and don'ts, what to wear, what to say, what not to say, and I guess when it comes to other or global brands approaching you, they're much more, how do you say that, like strict when it comes to
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
posting
that's
guidelines.
I guess that's specific to the company or the brand. They have their own standard when it comes to these things. I was wondering if there was like a handbook for, and I suppose Will and Janina, this is still a developing industry. No matter how long have you been, and
Yeah.
been there longer than a lot of people. It's still a developing industry, and there are still rules that are
It's
being
still gonna
developed.
boom and get bigger because even more so now we're all transitioning to that digital
Right,
form of communication. Like everything's going online. Lalo
right.
na ngayon na nasa bahay lang tayong lahat. So it's only going to get bigger. And for me, whenever you have a project or a potential project, make sure that you read the contract thoroughly so that you don't get in trouble.
Mm,
Because I think
mm,
most of the people here don't like really reading them. And me, I'm really like, I read it. Like, I read it, I
mm.
understand it. I don't want to make any boo boos. So, yeah, my
And you're
advice.
not managed, right? You manage yourself. Am I correct by saying that?
I manage
Or you have?
myself, but I also have my management spark it.
Mhm.
But for other things that I can do on my own, which mostly are the global stuff, that
All right.
I handle it myself.
Will, you are managed, correct? And when did that happen?
Same.
And what has
I'm with
changed?
Janina. I do everything that I can do. If the
Mhm.
contract is simple, I have a very personalized MOA, and I send these companies my guidelines, my rules.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And if they say yes, then let's do it. I do the project because I have very strict personalized rules that I have created over the last few years to protect
And
myself.
you,
Like 3 revisions max, like stuff like
right,
that.
right,
One
right.
revision max.
One revision max.
I only do
One
one.
revision.
So my
That is-
personalized MOA contract started going around because people started borrowing it.
Oh no.
And a lot of people are using it. And it's all, I
Send mo
love
din
it.
sa akin. Send mo din sa
Yeah, I share it with everyone because it unionizes us creators. Because before, back
point.
in the day,
It's a good point.
which companies still do with new creators and people who don't have their own contracts, is they just have unlimited revisions and they make your content. They'll make your blog completely different from anything you ever recognize. They will make the
Right.
thumbnail, they'll make the title, like hashtag whatever their brand is, and no one wants to watch a commercial, especially if the thumbnail and title is a commercial in itself.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I do most of it, but if the contract's really big, and if the rules get weird and whatever else, then I got Jacko De Leon to help handle me with all that stuff.
You're watching us on Facebook Live on Magic 89.9, and I believe Will's Facebook too. And listening to us on radio, Janina Manipol and Will Dasovich here in the Magic Chat Room. I love that you mentioned that part, because you've already gotten to a point where you are right now. You can dictate these things to a certain degree. You have the power of negotiation already. But if you are a nano influencer or a micro influencer, or you're a beginner, you're getting into it, how would you protect yourself? What advice would you give to those who are just grabbing anything left and right just because they're trying to establish themselves, to the point that they're probably taken advantage of by, regardless of companies or brands or whatever? Go back to that time when you were beginning. How do you maintain that authenticity and protect yourself from people who are like that,
I
or
guess
brands who are like that?
when you're starting out, you can't be too picky with the brands you choose. But if it's really like a brand that you love doing or you'd love to work with, then go for it. But you gotta know your limits. You gotta know like when to say no and when to like stand up for yourself. Because once the brand knows that you're easily swayed with all the
Right.
freebies, then
Tanggap lang ng tanggap.
they can take advantage of
Yeah,
you. And
right.
I've gotten like stories from my friends where they were really taken advantage of. But yeah, you just gotta stand your ground and know what you want. And but going back, if it's the brand that you really want to work with, then go for it. Because if it's good for your personal branding, and yeah, just do it.
Will, with the benefit of perspective now, when you look back, what advice would you give?
when you're a beginning content creator or influencer, you have zero rights whatsoever.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's the truth. And everyone gets taken advantage of, and that's how you learn.
Right.
Myself, anyone I've ever talked to, we've all had the experience, and it's, you know, it's a part of doing business, you know.
So how do you handle it? How do you navigate though when you don't have a right? How do you, you know, balance doing what you want and not being taken advantage of?
You build your brand and you build your following big enough so that you can be able to command, and so that you basically earn your own rights. That's how I did it. So I was doing brand deals, I remember in the beginning when I first started, and it was great because it was the first time I was making money. But then you have to look at it like a long-term thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if I invest my time into making the video every single day and blowing up my fan base, rather than taking these small deals now, I will get a bigger project in the long run, in the end. And that one big project is worth like 10 or 20 small projects from what I'm doing when I'm first starting out. So again, it's like business. You look at it like an investment. You invest, you're not making money. You grow your business big enough so that then you can command a bigger revenue share of whatever project you're doing.
To add to that,
Please, yes.
some brands, global brands reached out to me like Rode, Mike, Joby, and I said yes to them because it's in line with my personal branding. But saying yes to them blossomed or flourished into other brands, other paying brands that made me ambassadors of those global brands like Lowpro. So if I hadn't said yes to those brands that just had X deal, that paid partnership with Lowpro wouldn't have happened, you know? So
Right.
yeah, going back to what I said earlier, if it's something that you love to do or it's something in line with your personal branding, then go for it. Because in the long run, it's going to pay off.
I have a few more minutes here with Janina, Manipol, and Will Dasovich on the Magic Chatroom. What do you say to people who still doubt this hustle, who still, this is not a legit job. I mean, you know, they're just playing around. They're just, you know, although they're making a lot of money while they're playing around. But what do you say to these people who still hate on the world of content creation, social media influencing in general, storytelling, vlogging, YouTubing? And
you know what, Boom? Even if I think people hate on those, I don't know, for lack of a better term, influencers,
right.
I think deep down, they kind of want to be that too, you know, because it's something like you post something and it's, how do I say that?
Well, it's true. Like hate just stems from jealousy.
Envy, you think?
For the most part.
Huh?
Envy, yeah, that's a better word. Hate stems from envy. And that's something I understand. So, I mean, I do my best to educate my viewers or anyone around that watches what I do. But at the same time is so limited, and you can't invest so much time into haters or anything. You just keep doing what you do, and people who are educated will understand that what we're doing is a business.
And it's not as easy as it looks, huh? You know,
Janina, that's a great point, because I wanted to say, I think that some of the hate, part of it is envy, yes. Some of the hate stems from the fact that people think it's easy.
Yeah, parang
let's talk about that real quick.
Tapos may ganyan na silang ano. Pero there's a lot of thought that goes on in, I mean, depending on the kind of content that you create. But when it comes to my content, I really put a lot of thought into it before I actually post it. Like the videos I create, I put a lot of time and effort. I try to write down my storyboard or like list down the things I want to do before I actually post them. I really invest time into it and not just like post a selfie.
Right.
Hard work is
Will, this is not easy, right? Will, it's not easy.
Hard work is always underappreciated, and no one will ever know how much time you spent and effort. physically and mentally, to create the products that we do. But I think the most overlooked thing is just pressure and the mental health aspect of it all, because everyone wants what we have, right? Everyone wants to do what we're doing, but no one realizes how much pressure is always on you. And I think the vast majority of people, once they figure this out, if they could put their shoes, if they could be in our shoes, they wouldn't want to do it. And a simple life is like one of the best things out there. That's why when I go back to the province, I witness how many in Mindoro, where my mom's from.
All right.
Everyone's just so happy, you know. It's like this jolly old place, and people don't have the most money, but life is simple. You don't have to think about too many things, and there's not too much pressure. I guess, like, it sounds crazy, but, you know, being worried about the food that's on your table, that's one pressure, but it's a simple pressure rather than all these exterior factors that your mind never would have thought about or you can get. So, I mean, that makes me think, like, you know, when I retire one day, whenever that is, I just want to live a very simple life in the island and have a simple life. Yeah.
And to add to that thing where you mentioned, Boom, like, I right now, because I'm starting to get into streaming and gaming, and prior to this, I didn't really see not the value in it, but like, wow, they're playing games. But now I have so much respect for gamers. Will, like, you have no idea, because I tried setting all these OBS Streamlabs stuff, and it's really hard work, and it's not that easy to do this. So now I have so much respect for all these gamers, and getting into it now, I'm like just in awe of this whole new gaming world. So props to you, props to Alodia. You guys are really doing a great job.
As we always say, never knock the hustle. You just can't knock the hustle. All right, last question for you guys. How's this quarantine affected both of you? I mean, from a content creation standpoint, from a work standpoint. I mean, it's affected everybody, regardless what field you belong to. When I got in touch with you guys, obviously, the first thing I wanted to know is how you guys are doing and all that stuff. But how has it affected you, just as my last question for today?
Well, financially, I mean, of course, I think we all have a little less projects and we're working less, because I had like 4 events in the first 2 weeks when quarantine came out of nowhere, and all my events got canceled, and that's a big part of how we make money. But at the same time, you just have to look at the positive and the negative aspects of it. And it gave me more time to work on personal projects and edit like old travels I did that I would have never been able to upload. And those videos ended up doing really well. And
I saw your Dubai video, Will.
Dubai, exactly, Dubai. Like, Dubai is one of them. And for me as a content creator, it's like, I actually, not just as a content creator, as a human, like, one of my biggest values is to never quit. No matter what you do, never quit. And I started making these videos in 2018, and then I just never finished them because I got caught up in life and I'm overworked. And it's in the back of my head, and it keeps me up at night. I even, when I was diagnosed, you know, with cancer and everything, one of the first things that came to my head, as crazy as this sounds, is there's so many videos I want to produce. And that was one of my biggest worries, that I will never get these videos that I worked on to get produced out there. So it gave me more personal time to work on stuff that I really needed to get out. And also, it comes back to challenge. I think a huge part of life is to go through challenges, and that creates character, and that makes us who we are today. Every single time we come across a challenge, we become more confident in the long run, and we gain knowledge. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but I think it did make me, and I think it made many people watching out there, and a lot of people, stronger, whether they are aware of that or whether it's subconscious.
Well, we take your word seriously when it comes to never quitting. I think, if you know the story, I think there's no better example also when it comes to that. And as they say, crisis creates opportunities, and we have to realize that. Janina, yeah, you wanted to say this quarantine period, this lockdown period, how has it affected you, and how are you coming out of this, even as a better storyteller that you are now?
I guess it's affecting everyone's businesses, especially in terms of traveling and going to places and like work, because obviously I have less work now, but how has it affected me? I guess like Will, I have more time for myself. I was able to read a lot of books and listen to a lot of podcasts, which I feel like I've never have gotten the time to do. So with all this hustle going on without the pandemic, but these past 2 months, I really quite enjoyed the time that I had. And yeah, I think I had so many trips canceled. I'm sure you did too, Will. Like so many trips.
Like I got my first invitation to, what was it called? VidCon.
No way!
I was super excited about that. That was supposed to happen in May, I believe.
It was May,
Was it
right?
VidCon Australia or?
It was VidCon Abu Dhabi, and I was going to be in 3 different countries for that.
Okay, so that's great.
Yeah, that was going to be a huge.
I feel like we always just have to look at the brighter side of things and just take this time to learn new skills. And sometimes if you're feeling down and you have no motivation, it's okay, because some days you really feel like that, and some days you'll feel motivated. And when you do feel motivated, just take advantage of that day. And
that's great advice, Janina. I think one of the important things, I talked about this with another guy before. I think one of the important things is to acknowledge it first, not to deny it. Acknowledge it first. It happens. We're only human.
Happens to everyone. Yeah. Happens to you, I'm sure, and me, and
right. And then we bounce back, and that's what we do.
And humans in general always bounce back from tragedies. Like we're strong. We have the minds of like super brains. So we always, I feel like, adapt or can easily adapt to change, and that's what's great about us, So,
and in the digital world, adapt is a word that is very, very important.
Adapting to the new normal,
right,
and just taking advantage of the. Sorry. My boyfriend walked in.
We're all live on Facebook and on the radio, of course. Janina Manipol and Will Dasovich here in the Magic Chatroom. Guys, first of all, it's good to see you both again. It's been a while since I've seen both of you physically. So
it's gonna be a while till we see each other physically for sure.
Yeah.
And last time I saw Will, we were on the beach. Last time I saw Janina, I think we were both grocery shopping or something like that.
That's true.
Right? Remember? I really appreciate the time. I'm sure I'm not the only one. The listeners and viewers loved the stuff that you shared.
Thank you for having us, Boom.
It is my pleasure, and hopefully this won't be the last time we have you here on the chat room.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone who's out there really taking the time to watch and listen to us. Time is like the most valuable thing in the world, and I'm so grateful when someone is just, out there to listen to me. And thank you, Boom, for giving me this opportunity. And you know what? This is super healthy because I don't have that big of a social life because of the given situation. So honestly, just being able to have a chat and conversation.
I think you and I, Will, we're both hermits in a way because, editing makes us hermits. But this opportunity talking to you guys is one of my social interaction for the week.
We're glad to be of service then. Thank you. We appreciate your time. You guys stay healthy, please. Take care of yourselves, and we'll definitely see you. Hopefully not here, just in the chat room or through Zoom and all that. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Boom. Thanks,
Janina.
Thanks, everyone.
Will, maraming salamat. That's Janina Manipol.
Salamat.
Dasovich, right here in the chat room. We'll see you next week for another edition. Bye, everybody.